The human mind, a labyrinth of thoughts, emotions, and sometimes terror. What lurks in the shadows of our collective psyche? What unseen forces drive us to the brink of madness? Tonight we journey into the abyss, exploring the unsettling phenomenon of mass hysteria. Join me as we uncover the truth behind three historical events where fear became a contagion, spreading like wildfire through communities and leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions. This is 3. The phenomenon of mass hysteria through history horror story. Prepare yourself, for the darkness we are about to delve into is not for the faint of heart. The year is 1518. The place, Strasbourg, France. A city renowned for its beauty and culture would soon become synonymous with a terrifying spectacle that would baffle historians and scientists for centuries to come. It began subtly. A lone woman, Frau Trophia, seized by an irresistible urge to dance, her feet moving to an unheard rhythm. Day and night she moved, her body gyrating uncontrollably in the streets, unable to stop even for a moment's rest. Days passed, her feet blistered and bleeding, her sanity unraveling with each frenzied step, yet she continued, driven by an unseen force. But Frau Trophia was not alone in her plight. Like a curse, the dancing mania spread through the city like wildfire. Within a week, 34 others had joined her, their bodies swaying and contorting in a grotesque ballet of involuntary movement. The authorities, baffled and alarmed, called upon physicians who offered a chilling diagnosis. The blood, they claimed, was overheated, causing a dangerous imbalance in the mind and body. Imagine the scene. Dozens, then hundreds, caught in this terrifying trance, their faces a mixture of ecstasy and agony, unable to control their own limbs. The relentless rhythm of their movements echoed through the cobblestone streets, a macabre symphony of suffering. Desperate measures were taken to try and stop the madness. Musicians were brought in, their melodies intended to soothe the afflicted and bring an end to the chaos. Instead, the music seemed to fuel the frenzy, the tempo quickening, the dancers collapsing from exhaustion only to rise again, driven by an unseen force that refused to let them rest. Days turned into weeks, weeks into a month, with no end in sight. The relentless dancing continued, claiming the lives of some who succumbed to heart attacks, strokes, or sheer exhaustion, their bodies unable to withstand the constant movement. What began as a peculiar anomaly had transformed into a public health crisis, a macabre dance of death that left the city in a state of panic and despair. Theories abound, from ergot poisoning to religious fervor, but the true cause of the dancing plague of 1518 remains a chilling mystery that continues to elude explanation. A stark reminder of the fragility of the human mind and the terrifying power of the unknown, this event has left an indelible mark on history. The dancing eventually subsided, leaving behind a community forever scarred by the experience, their lives irrevocably changed. The silence that followed was deafening, a stark contrast to the relentless beat that had possessed their city for so long. But the question lingered. What unseen force had driven so many to the brink of madness, compelling them to dance until they could dance no more? Was it a medical anomaly, a social contagion, or something far more sinister that we have yet to understand? The answer, lost to time, continues to haunt the annals of history, a puzzle that may never be fully solved. The dancing plague of 1518 serves as a chilling testament to the vulnerability of the human psyche and the mysteries that lie within. A reminder that even in the bright light of day, darkness can take hold, twisting our minds and leaving us puppets to an unseen force, a force that can turn our world upside down in an instant. From the cobblestone streets of Strasbourg, we journey to the windswept shores of Salem, Massachusetts, a place where history and legend intertwine. The year is 1692, a time when the air was thick with tension and the unknown loomed large. A community steeped in Puritan piety would soon become consumed by a different kind of fever, the chilling grip of witchcraft accusations, a fever that would spread uncontrollably. It began with whispers, hushed accusations against those deemed different, those who lived on the fringes of society, those who did not conform to the rigid expectations of the time. Young girls, their eyes wide with fear, claimed to be afflicted by unseen forces, their bodies contorted in fits and spasms, their cries echoing through the village. Fingers pointed at Sarah Good, a beggar known for her sharp tongue, a woman who had already faced the harshness of life, and Tituba, a slave woman who shared tales of Caribbean folklore. stories that now seem to fuel the fire of suspicion. The accusations spread like wildfire, fueled by fear, suspicion, and the deeply ingrained belief in the supernatural, a belief that left no room for doubt or reason. Imagine the terror, neighbors turning on neighbors, friends betraying friends, all under the watchful eye of the court and the looming shadow of the gallows, a symbol of ultimate fear. The Salem Witch Trials were a stark example of mass hysteria at its most potent, a time when reason was overshadowed by fear. Spectral evidence, the testimony of the accusers who claimed to see the spirits of the accused tormenting them, was enough to condemn a person to death, a concept that defied logic. The accused, stripped of their dignity and denied any semblance of a fair trial, were left with an impossible choice: confess to a crime they did not commit or face the hangman's noose, a choice that was no choice at all. The trials reached a fever pitch, a vortex of fear and paranoia that consumed the very fabric of Salem, tearing apart the community. Over 200 people were accused, their lives shattered by the weight of unfounded accusations, their futures forever altered. The Salem Witch Trials stand as a chilling reminder of the dangers of unchecked fear and the devastating consequences of mass hysteria, a dark chapter in human history. A period in history where reason was abandoned and the darkness within the human heart was allowed to flourish, unchecked and unchallenged. As the trials reached their tragic climax, the governor of Massachusetts, alarmed by the escalating madness, intervened, bringing a semblance of sanity back to the proceedings. The use of spectral evidence was outlawed, and the tide began to turn slowly but surely. One by one, the accused were released, their lives forever marked by the ordeal, their names forever etched in the annals of history. The shadow of the trials lingered, a stain on the soul of Salem, a stark reminder of the fragility of justice and the enduring power of fear, a fear that can still be felt today. The Salem Witch Trials serve as a haunting reminder of the dark side of human nature, a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked suspicion and the importance of critical thinking in the face of fear, a lesson that remains relevant in our modern world. Chapter 3. The Night the Martians Invaded. The year is 1938, a time when the world was teetering on the edge of a global conflict. The world, on the brink of war, found solace in the escapism of radio, a medium that brought stories and news into the homes of millions. But on a seemingly ordinary Sunday evening, that comfort would be shattered, replaced by a wave of panic that swept across the United States, leaving an indelible mark on the collective psyche. Orson Welles, a young actor with a flair for the dramatic, took to the airwaves with his adaptation of H.G. Wells's The War of the Worlds, a story that would soon become infamous. What began as a fictional radio play, a chilling tale of a Martian invasion, would soon blur the lines between fantasy and reality, creating an unprecedented reaction. Imagine this. Families gathered around their radios, the warm glow of the vacuum tubes illuminating their faces, eagerly listening to the evening's entertainment. Suddenly the music is interrupted, replaced by a breaking news bulletin that would change everything. Martians, the announcer declared, had landed in Grover's Mill, New Jersey, sparking immediate concern and confusion. Wells' masterful storytelling, coupled with the use of realistic sound effects, created a chillingly authentic experience that captivated listeners. Listeners, caught up in the drama, failed to distinguish between fiction and reality. Panic ensued, spreading rapidly. Phone lines were jammed with frantic calls from people seeking information and reassurance. People fled their homes, desperate to escape the Martian invaders they believed were real and imminent. Hospitals overflowed with patients suffering from shock and hysteria, unable to cope with the sudden terror. The War of the Worlds broadcast, though fictional, triggered a mass panic that exposed the power of media and the susceptibility of the human mind to fear in the face of the unknown, a lesson that would not be forgotten. Newspapers, eager to capitalize on the sensationalism, ran headlines proclaiming the Martian invasion, further fueling the hysteria. The story spread like wildfire, fueled by word of mouth and the collective fear that gripped the nation, showing how quickly misinformation can spread. As the broadcast reached its climax, with Wells describing the Martian war machines laying waste to the countryside, the tension was palpable. The truth began to dawn on some listeners. as they started to question the reality of what they were hearing. This was a work of fiction, a radio play, not a real invasion, the announcer clarified, bringing relief to many. But for many, the damage was done, the fear and panic leaving a lasting impact. The experience left an indelible mark, a chilling reminder of the power of suggestion and the fragility of our perception of reality, a lesson in the importance of media literacy. The War of the Worlds broadcast served as a wake-up call, a stark demonstration of the influence of media and the importance of critical thinking in the digital age. In today's world, where information is abundant and often unchecked, the lessons from that night in 1938 remain more relevant than ever, urging us to question and verify before succumbing to fear. From the dancing plague of 1518 to the Salem Witch Trials and the War of the Worlds panic, history is replete with chilling examples of mass hysteria. These events, though separated by time and circumstance, share a common thread: the power of fear to grip the human mind, distorting our perceptions and driving us to the brink of madness. The darkness we've explored tonight reminds us that the line between sanity and madness is often thin and easily blurred. The human mind, for all its complexity, remains vulnerable to suggestion, fear, and the contagious nature of collective delusion. If you enjoyed this journey into the shadows, give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more explorations into the dark side of history and the human psyche. Until next time, sleep tight, and remember, the truth is often stranger than fiction.